Hello. Um, this session we'll be talking about accessibility and inclusion of the hearing impaired in respect to film, TV, and audiovisual online content consumption. My name is Ifeoluwa Ichapo, a Master of Arts student, Media and Communication, Beaumont University. I carried out a research on how the hard of hearing and the deaf, how the if I wanted to know if they enjoy watching films, what their experiences are when they watch films, when they watch television, and when they also watch any other online audiovisual content. So wanted to know what genre of films they like to watch, and I also wanted to know how to improve upon it when I know what their experience is like. In this session, the significance of the study, accessibility and inclusion, um, coping methods, mode of communication, assistive devices. Those are the things that would be addressed and explained. So I believe the best way to explain or to give an illustration to this is okay, if you could go in front of a TV and you turn it on and you let something play on it, say a movie, and you close your eyes. Closing your eyes, it means maybe your ears are the only things working, or are the only things that you're going to use to perceive or to watch the movie. I'm sure for about 5 minutes, if you're told or asked about what it is you understand by the movie, you'll be able to give an explanation of what you did, but it won't be absolute because you won't be able to give details. By details, I mean that you won't be able to say this person turned to this person. You won't be able to describe what this person was wearing or that person was wearing. If there's a gunshot, you won't be able to say this person shot that person. That's to give the tiny details. And that only happens because you need your senses, you know, you need your senses completely to be able to have a good grasp of what's going on. And on the flip side, you can also do that. Just imagine that your ears are plugged, or you have limited ability to hear, and you can only see what you're watching. You would have an understanding quite all right. You would try to follow, but the truth is that it won't be absolute. And why is that? Because you need your senses. And but then on the flip side, imagine that as you closed your eyes, you had someone describing, saying what was happening, trying to explain to you. And imagine when your hearing ability was reduced, you had text on the screen, saying what this person was saying to that person, and then you can read and you're following it. So for the audio descript for the interpretation given to you when you closed your eyes that made you understand the movie better, it's called audio description. And for the text you're seeing on the screen when your hearing was reduced, it's called either captions or subtitled. The Americans call it captions, and the British people call it subtitles. And for the captions, we have the open and closed captions, and we also have other content like the podcast, which is not one of the basis for now, but you can also have transcripts on the podcast in which they're just documents in which you follow, the reader, or you follow the podcaster to understand what he or she is saying. So for the closed captions, those are captions whereby you can decide not to have them. So when you go on your YouTube, you click on a button that says, do you want to see the caption? And then you see the caption. So those are closed captions. For the open captions are the ones that they come with the content that are displayed on the screen, and you have no choice than to use it. Now, according to the World Health Organization in 2011, which is the most recent report, it says that the amount of disabled compared to the world population is actually 15%, and over the years it has grown by 10%. So if you know, what it means is that the amount of disabled people has increased. We'll be discussing accessibility and inclusion in terms of the disabled. And that being said, it has also said that these disabilities has stopped them from being able to perform at their utmost best. They have not been able to perform at which in a way in which they would have performed if they did not have these ailments, these impairments. And these impairments or these incapabilities are mostly caused by either diseases, or sometimes it just is hereditary or natural causes. And overall, that's a subtle way of defining disability. When someone has a condition that stops him, or that does not enable him to be able to live or have his activities done to the fullest. And Calvin Crow, in one of his articles about disability, speaks about four categorize disability into four. It said he would like to categorize it as hearing impairment, motor impairment, cognitive impairment, and visual impairment. So he has categorized disability into four, and for the purpose of this session, we'll be taking the hearing impairment disability. The hearing impaired consists of the deaf and the hard of hearing. The deaf are the people that do not feel or do not hear at all, both in tone and pitches, where the hard of hearing are people that hear some tone, some pitch, but not all. So you see someone that can listen to you, that can read your lips, because he or she understands, or he or she can hear a little bit. Whereby you see someone who has not been given the chance at hearing at all, he or she does not even understand what you're saying. And that's where the issue of language also come in. Deaf, you have the people that have identified as deaf, and the people that still identify, and they have formed a culture from themselves. So they belong to a cultural group. And you have the other kind of deaf people that they also want to identify with the hearing people, and but they are deaf. So the significance of this study is that over the years there's been an increase in people with disability, up to 2 to 4% initially, but now it's been up to 10% increase over the years. So it is very imperative that these people are put into consideration when content creators plan to create their content. And that's why this topic is very important. The event of social media has also made it very important for people to have access to information, to say the least, aside from the fact that you can have other things like entertainment. Content creation, we have different forms of media in which we use to disseminate content to the viewers or the audience, as it may be. So we have the film, in which we disseminate through the TV, the social media channels, and sometimes in the cinema. And we have the television, the terrestrial TV, the ones that give us our news and daily information, and maybe some other broadcasts from the TV house. And then we have the social media, in which gives all kinds of information, provides all forms of communication, the asynchronous and the synchronous communication, in which you can give out and then you can just take in. So say the WhatsApp, for example. For WhatsApp, you can use it to disseminate information to everybody, or you can use it to receive information. So that's a form of communication. And it's very important for it's very important to be taken into consideration the hard of hearing or the deaf, the hearing impaired persons. It's very important to put them into consideration because everybody needs to be able to access information at every time in which they want to access it, and that's the sole purpose of this that's the sole purpose of this session, to iterate why, and we would mention how what the coping measures have been, and we mention how accessibility and inclusion should also work. Now, for the coping method, research has shown that the hard of hearing, for instance, use lip reading to survive. And that means that when you see someone that is hard of hearing, they you might not know because they can read your lips, to understand what you're saying. The hard of hearing use lip reading as a coping measure, while the deaf use sign language as a coping measure, and that's when they're undergoing communication in their daily lives. But as content creators, it is very important that we include them in creating the content. We include them when creating this content so that they can also have access to it. And this having access and being included is in different stages. And the purpose of this research is to state the present situation and also to ascertain if the hearing impaired or the deaf, how they feel when they watch this content, the present content, the ones that are available now. How do they feel? Do they enjoy it? Do they feel included? Do they enjoy going to the cinema? That is what this project is about. And then we were able to find out that no, the deaf and the hard of hearing do not like going to the cinema. The deaf and the hard of hearing do not really enjoy watching movies, but surprisingly they enjoy watching movies with their family. And most of them said they enjoy watching movies with their family because they can ask their family, oh, what did they say, what did I miss out? If they see them laughing, they can say, oh, what was funny? And because they are with their friends and family, they can come back, or they are willing to explain to them what they missed out. And it made it very obvious that more things need to be done, more coping measures or more solutions need to be provided for the deaf and the hard of hearing when we are trying to disseminate content that has been created. However, we also try to find out if they had personal coping measures in which they use in their daily lives when watching this content. And just like we had found out previously, the coping measures they had was lip reading for the ones that understood the language in which the content was being created. Aside from that, we also found out if they knew anything about the smart caption glasses. The smart caption glasses is the glasses that you wear if you're in a cinema, and it's displayed instead of the caption getting displayed on the cinema screen for everybody. It's like a customized glasses for people who have hard of hearing. You put it on and the captions are displayed right in front of the glasses. And we found out that most of them have never even heard of the caption glasses. And this also pointed out that there's need for awareness. There's need to tell these people that, oh, there's a solution in which you can also opt for. And what we have also realized is that these smart caption glasses are more common in the United States than in the United Kingdom. And another thing, as regards the cinemas, which it's also entwined with the laws of accessibility. We have several bodies that have given regulation, but we realized during the course of this study, I realized during the course of this study that these laws are working mostly in the United States, especially in the cinemas, especially in the content being created. You cannot push out content without your subtitles. You cannot push out content without your audio description. This content are available for the disabled, for the hard of hearing. But in other countries, it has not been mandated that content displayed in the cinema, for instance, must be subtitled. So you still have that feeling where people don't really get the optimal value of watching a film in the cinema when they are hard of hearing or when they are deaf. According to the research, the extent in which where they watch their content. Now, the research was to find out if they enjoyed watching this content. It was also to find out if where they watched it was proportional or was where they watched it, if it was affected, if it was enjoyed due to, if this content were enjoyed due to where it was watched. And it was found out that when they watched content on TV, they preferred to watch movies on the social media channels or in the cinema than to watch this content on the TV. The complaint was that the live captions on the TV are not accurate, and this is due to the software. So furthermore, I researched and found out that it is due to the software that is being used. There's like a delay, and there's also the issue of phonetic accent, the software trying to interpret what is being said to it, and that was one of the that was something that was flagged. That was a situation that was flagged by a participant, that they preferred to watch this content on the social media channels or in the cinema than watching the TV, because the spellings on the TV are usually incorrect. Another question that the research answered was the experience when they watch content that is captioned correctly, and all of them said that it allowed them to concentrate, it allowed them to have a feel among, understand. And so it was concluded that captions are great, captions are good, captions do absolutely a good work when the hard of hearing are watching audiovisual content. Another thing that we found out is that the deaf need to be included as well, especially the ones that will not understand the language in which these contents are created. So we have the sign languages, we have the American Sign Language, we have the British Sign Language, and we have the Black Sign Language, we have other sign languages, Kenyan Sign Language, for in which these people can relate. And research, we also try to find out what kind of movies the hearing impaired persons love to watch, and it was found out that the action movies are the movies that they love to watch. And this is not far-fetched. This is because the action movies mostly do not involve dialogue. For dialogue, you have to follow through, you have to know what this person is saying, that person is saying, to speaker one, speaker two, to be able to make meaning of what is being said. But for the action film, you can basically see all that is being done and understand the movie So we found out that the hard of hearing and the deaf preferred action movies than all other genre of movies. We also realized that they loved comedy after the action movies. So action movies and comedy, and this is because um, facial expression, which is part of communication. Facial expression. They When you read lips, you see the face, you hear by looking at the face, by seeing what the person is saying. And we realized that they preferred comedy as well because you could see the clowning character from the speech or from what the person is trying to say. The gestures, the body language already suggests comedy, already suggests clowning. So they prefer comedy when watching movies. In conclusion, it is important to know that generally there has been an improvement in accessibility and inclusion in the thought process of content creators, app generators, in putting in mind the deaf and the hard of hearing. Recently, about 3 days ago, Instagram added auto-generated captions to the application, and just like we know, YouTube as for all content created from 2010 till date, YouTube has mandated all content creators to provide transcribed version, and they have also took it upon themselves to have captions generated for such content as well. So we are aware that content managers, content generators, app producers are already putting accessibility and inclusion into their action plan. We are already aware of that, but we would also try to iterate, or we would also try to speak more and advocate that we keep doing this, we don't get tired. We also want to say that since it has been noticed, or since it has been researched, and we can assertively say that the deaf and the hard of hearing prefer their content being subtitled, they enjoy it more when it's subtitled. Content that have this that have subtitles should be created. Then we also have assistive devices, just like the smart caption glasses I spoke about, and just like the hearing aids as well. So those are things that also help the hard of hearing to enjoy watching this content. And I believe that this project can still be elaborated, but right now, for content creators, for app creators, and even for engineers that want to make things like the smart caption glasses or the hearing aids. We have several kinds of hearing aids now. I believe that this research is also important to them, so as to know to what extent the progress have been made. And interestingly, speaking of the media world, speaking of films and TV, we have a lot. We have a lot of movies that have been made, like Sound of Metal, Deaf You, and these are movies that explain what these people go through, the hard of hearing in their community. And watching this kind of content, creating this kind of content that gives information about what the predicament really is, or what the situation really is, would also make people aware of the disability, and will also make people aware of the fact that we also make content creators aware of the fact that they need to create content that help, or that would make people of that category enjoy the content. To wrap it all up, what we all need to remember, what we all need to know to make this simpler, to make this easier, is always remember that the deaf and the hard of hearing persons, they hear with their eyes. Thank you.